All right, so here's something interesting. Why do people settle in relationships? Why do people settle? Um, let's just say I saw an instance where there's this. First of all, I'm really. Most men aren't, but I am. If I see somebody that's attractive, no matter what sex is, I acknowledge it. I compliment it. Okay, that's a beautiful woman, or he's an attractive guy. So it's cool. So I have to put that out there. But you see somebody like this guy that I know, he's a nice looking dude, and he's with this chick who just isn't. And I know it's much deeper than that. I know that it's not quote unquote all about looks, but is it? Especially for men. Now, ladies, you may not want to hear this, but this is how we're wired. Is men are wired visually, okay? And then from even an evolutionary standpoint, it's just we want the best mate for offspring on a subconscious level. Now, if this isn't happening, there has to be some reason why. So I just sat there and I just thought about it. I was like, it has to be for two reasons. And I'll just say this: that this dude he was black and the girl was white, right? And that's okay. It's cool. Interracial dating, that's cool. But the thing is, this guy was like he made a living, made money like in the entertainment industry. Far as basically he was a model, right? And the chick he was with was not attractive at all. And I'm just thinking, bro, like you can have a chick that looks so much better than that, so much better. So it made me think, why doesn't he? And a lot of guys do this, and girls do this too. This is what I believe it personally is. And please correct me if I'm wrong. It's self-esteem. I think that's one of the reasons. It's you basically will be with somebody who's at your same level, like value, what you internally value yourself, your self-esteem. Right? Because it only makes sense, especially if guys are visual, that you would be with somebody who'd be the equivalent, if not more, to get the best. Especially if you're in the industry, entertainment industry, and you're around beautiful women. Right? First thing I thought, it has to be the self-esteem. Now, the next thing I thought, which could be slightly controversial, is that he's with this girl of this opposite race because of, let's say this. There was this interesting girl who made another YouTube video about some of the things with interracial dating. And let me say, I've definitely dated interracially multiple times, So that's not the issue I'm saying here. But with this specific case, this woman was saying that sometimes you will subject yourself to somebody of a lower standard, quote unquote, well, say looks in this standpoint, but they have a specific race, and it allows them to have higher status. Let's call it what it is. There's certain races that are perpetuated higher in value than others. I didn't say they are, but their perception, they're perceived higher. So I thought about that. I was like, man, could it be one of those two things? Could it be he has low self-esteem, or in conjunction, could it be that he thinks if he aligns himself with this specific race, it'll raise his value? Maybe I'm looking too far into this, but I'm definitely deep in the psychology and why we make the decisions that we make, and it's very, very interesting. I mean, you see so many situations where people settle, where they're in a relationship, where they be a very, very abusive relationship, and you sit and ask yourself why, especially where they may not have the physical, physically they may not, there's so many other options they could have. Physically, there's so many other options they could have, somebody who could actually be a positive influence in their life. Why would somebody subject themselves to this type of relationship or behavior? And there's a lot of things that could come in play. It could be in play as far as it reminds them basically of father-daddy issues, as far as they're basically replaying the situation that they had as a child. It could be because they just don't feel the value themselves externally. I mean, I've seen and talked to girls that were absolutely gorgeous, that were beautiful, but people saw this. But when they looked in the mirror, they saw something horrendous. So why do people settle in relationships? I believe it has a lot to do with our own internal value. Because I've seen some people who really had no reason to be confident from a physical standpoint, but their belief in themselves and their confidence came across so much that they attracted a high value mate, a very, very, very high value person in their life. So, I mean, I've personally done this as far as on the other end where I was with somebody and the relationship wasn't necessarily serving me. I know that may sound slightly selfish, but the point is, it wasn't beneficial. It wasn't mutual. And that's happened a few times, actually. And I stop and think about why did that happen? So really, for me, I could say that was a self-esteem issue. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't love myself enough to realize, you know what? I'm better than this. I'm going to move on. So what are your thoughts on this? I think this is just a fascinating subject, especially when it has to do with, I mean, it's one of the most powerful topics in the world is sex and love and mating. And when you start understanding this, it's, man, it's powerful. Even just the thought of like some women, they'll be with some guys who are just slobs, but they provide for them financially and they have resources. And especially if the woman is older, she'll stay with them. Let's just say, hypothetically, I used to work at the Four Seasons Resort as a server, and I would see certain women who were in their, I would say 30s, mid 30s, 40s, beautiful, gorgeous women, be with these older guys who were not physically attractive whatsoever, and even some of them that were actually not, I would say, encouraging. They weren't on the other end as well, on the emotional level, but these women stayed with them. And obviously people are like, oh, because of the money. But yes, the money, but also it was because I feel like reading stuff by Dr. David Buss, evolutionary psychology, and other things as well, it had a lot to do with they felt like they were the end of their timeline to have children. So they were looking at the other resources around. They were like, okay, I have to settle down quick because I'm getting older. And then also, if I do settle down, I have to have somebody with the adequate resources to take care of me and the child. But the interesting thing is that not only would they stay with these people, but on the back end, they would still entertain younger males as well. Still entertain it and still follow through on it. You wouldn't believe how many stories I've heard, especially of married women who, see, there's a stigma out there, and I didn't know until I really started doing research and I actually saw some of my own eyes. It goes both ways. I think they just, oh, it's the guy's fault, and guys are the ones who are, no, man. Once you really start, just open your eyes and you start studying this stuff and actually seeing it for yourself, you see how women play a major, major role. And they do just as much, if not more, than guys on the unfaithful part. Seriously, on the unfaithful part. So it's really, really interesting. And it doesn't even and it'll happen too, regardless of religious affiliation, status affiliation, location. It's just the species. You know, a lot of people think that we're so different. Now, obviously, there are some instances where we are different from necessarily animals. You know, as far as our ability to have creative thought and process, problem solving, and vast arrays of different things that people a lot smarter than me could talk about. But on a primal instinct level, we're not that different. We're not that different. You could watch, you know, Animal Planet, Animal Kingdom or whatever, Animal Planet, and you can learn about love and relationships really quick just by watching that. So, all that to say, what are your thoughts on this? If you're watching this video, what are your thoughts on why do people settle in relationships? What's your personal experience? I think this stuff is fascinating, you know, and you can learn a lot. And this is stuff that should be taught in things like I've been reading Dr. David Buss's Evolution Psychology. I've read another book called Your Brain in Love. They got the old school one. What was it? Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. There's a vast array. This is stuff that should be told and handed to us like when we're kids, along with financial education and everything else, so we can know before. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people, they find themselves in situations, even right now, if you're watching this video and you're like, man, if I only knew, if I only knew. So if you are bold enough and brave enough, share a snippet of your situation, and why do you honestly think, even if you're settling right now or you know of people who are settling right now, why do you think this actually happens? You know, because I love to learn more, and it's just fascinating to me. So I just felt compelled to make this video right now because I saw that situation about a couple of hours ago. I was like, yo, I was like, man, this brother could so much better. It's like he just limited himself with that. Especially, I'm not even talking about the U.S. boys. I'm talking about abroad. I mean, I was talking to my brother, like yesterday or 2 days ago. And he was talking about, oh, you want to go to these parties and blah blah blah. I was like, yo, there's always gonna be parties. And I was like, especially, she's like, I know you got these girls here. I'll just tell this story to end it. Sorry, this video is like a little crappy. But I remember that I was in high school and I was dating this girl at the time. And one of my buddies, man, he graduated a year or two before me. And he came back from college. We were at this house party. And I remember he said this right in front of my girlfriend at the time. And he said, yo, I know you like your girl. You may even love her. That's cool. But he said, trust me, when you get to college, girls are on a whole nother level. And he said it right in front of her. And I started smiling. But sometimes when you're in, whether it be in a relationship, or sometimes when you're just in that small little bubble environment, that's all you see and that's all you know. And it isn't until you expand yourself and you get new references that you're like, oh my God, this is what I was missing. And this could be in every area of life. But it was like, wow, this is what I was missing. So my mom like, yo, it's like, bro, do you understand, man? Do you get it? You know? And some people on here probably gonna be like, well, Triple, you just talking all about looks. Hey, I'm, being 100% right here. Like, it is about looks. For guys, it is. And then we move. First, it's visual for us, and then we move on to the internal stuff. That's just how this stuff works. Women, first, it's emotional. It's through the emotions that they feel, that they see you through. That's how it is. All right? And then they start noticing the physical. Then that's the plus. We're just vice versa. That's how it works here. I didn't write the rules. That's just how it works. So let me know your experiences. What do you think about this? Honestly, I think this stuff is cool. I think it's powerful. So let me know your thoughts. Thanks. Sorry for the kind of grainy video, but have a great day. Have a productive day. Talk to you later.